I hate this word, but was it cathartic writing it and putting it down
Well, I
and
mean, yeah, I hate it too. I don't think about get targeting in that sense. But I think what I realized writing the book is that it turned out that it was maybe more than it was about this affair with the jazz musician, the young jazz musician, that it
right?
is about coming to terms with the finally putting an end to the marriage. And that was a total surprise to me because I
Yeah,
didn't
I
see it
feel
coming.
that at the end it heightens. I mean, if you want to talk about like you described the jazz, the music, and it felt like at the end, all of a sudden, it's like the weaving in, it picks up pace and
Yeah,
gets kind of like all the instruments playing with each other. Where there's this scene where I forget which daughter is confronting Eve and just saying, it says it's not about you. You are you saying you should have put me into therapy?
oh, it's Louise. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, right. Yeah.
You should have put me into therapy, basically saying you fucked up. And the worst, the most painful thing as a mother is looking at that and knowing or feeling that pain and just allowing your child to have their pain
Mhm.
and
Right.
not reveal the way their anger is painful to you, but just to kind of like I used to do this thing when I was strengthening my abs, which was very metaphoric and I didn't realize it, was just like being like a boxer and letting people punch my stomach. Like,
Mm,
look how strong my stomach. Go ahead, punch
right.
my stomach. I can take it until I ended up in a hospital with a
Oh,
twisted,
really? Yeah.
but it was very metaphoric. Of course, I live in metaphor. But it's the idea of like I have learned to listen to um my or people that need to say what you did affected me in this way and be able to separate that out and not explain, defend, and justify if it's appropriate to then say, and this is what it was for me, but often for a child, that's a process that takes years for them to be able to hold their parent as a separate
Mm,
human
yeah.
being and understand the larger context of what it is you were going through and the extraordinary circumstances and how much worse it could have fucking been.
Yeah, right. I think Eve is stronger than me. I mean, in real life, I've been more defensive than that. But I mean, I think Eve is, like it's kind of ahead of me in that book, at least now I'm probably okay now, but yeah, it's true. I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, it's very hard not, like that's what you want. The ideal, you let the grown child to say these things without being defensive. But in my real life, I haven't always not been defensive. The book definitely came from my experience with in real life with the dating apps. But this whole aspect about dealing with the past and putting the failure of the marriage behind it and sort of like making room for a new life, that really came as a surprise that I said that before, but that book turned out to be also about that.
This book.
This book, yeah, in the process, turned out to be about that.
Well, it's a huge betrayal and trauma. So,
Yeah, right. But I
um,
didn't know that it was still, I mean, when I was writing it, I thought, I was focusing on the dating, but it turned out that all these things came out and I realized that there was what the book was about as well.
what I love about your book is you allow Eve to go off on the flights of obsession
Yeah.
with this man and going by his work, sitting by his in his path. Could people figure out who he is?
I've changed things. And I mean, there are also scenes that didn't happen in my life that I've added, and I've changed details.
Have you had contact with him since, or do you
No,
know if he knows about
no,
the book?
no, I have not.
There's a scene that I really appreciate, and it's not negative or positive, it just is a writer's observation. It's on page 210. Do you want to read that last paragraph? Maybe he was already regretting.
Okay. Maybe he was already regretting how I'd come to see him, invading his space, getting closer to him, already regretting that weakness he'd had, that nuclear explosive desire men have that has to be satisfied in the moment. And then afterward, this urge to deny the moment, feeling guilty to have led me on, ashamed to have given in to his impulse, amazed to see that I was still there, lingering, picking up a book, threatening to start a conversation, a literary conversation of all things, inquisitively leaning over the keyboard as if pushing my foot in the door, asking for a glass of water when he was finishing a bottle of orange juice and tossing it in the garbage without offering me any, because in his mind I was already gone, erased. No memory of what we had just done in front of the mirror when he collapsed into my arms and that moment of tenderness. Look at me. I want to see you come, his fingers gently pushing the hair from my face.
Yeah, that struck me because it's that juxtapose of having that tenderness and just the idea of him finishing that orange juice and not asking if you want any was like
Yeah.
they captured, and the thing is like Eve just sees it, accepts it, and it doesn't feel like her self-esteem is really that much up for a vote, through all these different barbs and behavior that she knows is maybe a little bit off. But she just kind of observes it, allows it to be, and um her self-esteem, I don't see the self-attacking like really
No, no, I don't. Her self-esteem is not attacked. I think she's, it's like she's a writer as well, and she just observes that he cannot handle it. I mean, I think that it's more like I think the whole relationship, or I don't know, it's not relationship, but this affair that she observes, she sees that he's like completely, he's out of his depth. So it doesn't attack her self-esteem. It just she's would like more, but when she finally lets it go at the end, I mean, it's not. She doesn't turn it against herself. She just see that like how uncomfortable he is in this situation.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's it's beautiful. It's beautifully
Thank
observed and
you.
captured in that. And I like at the end when there's another an older relationship that reappears,
Oh, right, yeah,
and she Eve doesn't need to take the offer up for her self-esteem or to fulfill any fantasy. It's like, no, this doesn't work. I don't need to do this again.
right, right. Yeah, no, I appreciate very much that you got it. I really appreciate that because that was kind of what that's what I want to show. Yeah.
I want to just say thank you so much. And I suggest everyone go out and get After David by Catherine Texier. It put literary divorce on the map. Well, the
Mhm.
New York literary
Right,
scene
right. Thank you
downtown.
very much, Laura.